Well, chat, in the interim from the ranting, I have thought about it, and I have made my decision. My decision. I am at least going to explore the possibility of the nuclear option. I need to see what I could realistically get, especially given that Luke Kennard trade is still up there. I need to explore what I could potentially get in a trade this year to see if it is worth pulling the trigger on the nuclear option. And to be honest, it might be. It might be. Especially because of that damn Kennard trade. And Kennard in a first is a pretty damn good return. That's also a pretty damn good return. What are your thoughts on the new Fanatics premium jersey? I mean, pricey, but that's to be expected. Like, essentially, they're, MICs. They're made in Canada. And I mean, those were always more expensive anyway. Maybe not that expensive, but, Oh, good old Frank Ntilikina. Damn names that I always struggled with and definitely didn't just have to look it up. All right, so I could certainly get a good deal for Chris Middleton. Tyson Chandler could fetch me a first, apparently. Being able to get a first for Tyson Chandler to get rid of that contract is huge. Can I get rid of Boban? I could also apparently get a first for Boban. Well, chat, why not? Why not? You know what time it is. I will gladly take some first round picks to try and jumpstart a bit of a rebuild. Gladly. I am officially using my nuclear option. Officially. What can I get for Jesus Christ? I can get a first for DJ Augustine? What the hell's going on where DJ Augustine's fetching me a first? Hell yeah, brother. Hell yeah. Jesus. Well, the question is then, whose first do I fucking want? I mean, the sooner the better, I suppose. So 21 first, 22, 2019, potentially from Utah. A 28, well, that's this year, so I can't do that. 2019 from Utah, that's technically the Warriors pick. All right, well, for me, then it's Utah. DJ Augustine for a first-round pick from Utah. We will gladly take that. Gladly. And I am not done. Chris Middleton, I know I got to flip you. I'm going to trade you to Philadelphia for Luke Kennard and a first-round pick in 2019. And I am still not done. I'm not going to be able to flip Reggie Bullock because he doesn't have any term left. Henry Ellison's fine. Connor Lawson's fine. Doug Todd's going to go. And then at center, Alexis. Jesus Christ, I can get a first rounder for you too? 2021st from Philly. 2021st from Boston. God damn, this was the right time then to pull the trigger on this. Houston offering a 2021st. San Antonio. Minnesota. Let's try to bank on Minnesota being bad. Why not? Aaron Baines, I won't be able to flip because his deal's up. But Boban, I can flip Boban. 2021 first rounder. 2019 from Boston, which is technically LA's. So Boston is definitely in the running here. 2019 technically from the Warriors, though. 2020 from the Wizards. We'll take this one from Boston. Bank on the Clippers being bad. See you later, Boban. We get at least one more trade, maybe two, because Tyson Chandler's got to go. Does 2K make that? No, 2K doesn't factor in the bubble at all. But go-karts. Don't forget about the go-karts. First rounder from Philly in 2020. First rounder from the Nets. 2019 first from the Rockets. We'll take that deal. I mean, the Houston pick, they did just make the final. But who knows, they might fall apart in the meantime. I'm going to go for a risky deal and send Tyson Chandler to Houston. And then the last potential trade for me is Andre Drummond. I need to at least look at the possibilities here. Drummond is obviously very solid. He's the primary reason I feel like I made the playoffs this year. But like Donovan Mitchell in a 2019 first is tempting. Schrader, Nick Batum, but I'd have to give up a first. That's from you guys. Indiana, no. All right, so if I were to trade Andre Drummond, Bam's there. I wouldn't want Allen unless I could flip him. Justin Patton, Ian Mahinmi, Donovan Mitchell in a first from Philadelphia. That is tough to turn down. I do like Andre Drummond quite a bit. Am I confident that he is the guy to lead the team, though? I'm not sure. Sarah's less about dominant bigs in a lot of ways. I get rid of him. I got some younger power forwards. I do need a point guard. I think I'm going to do it. Andre Drummond kind of cause a log jam with Philadelphia and their big man setup right now. But Drummond for Donovan Mitchell and a first rounder, I'm taking this. That is a risky deal, but a done deal. And that is pretty much it then for the nuke. But it does give me a lot of picks to play with starting next year, which was the game plan. And now I have a shitload of cap space, which was also the game plan. So the Atlanta Hawks, with the first overall pick, take DeAndre Ayton. Orlando at 2, get Luka. The Phoenix Suns at 3, Mo Bamba. La Bamba. This is what happens when I take a nap before stream to get my schedule back on track after being a normal person for a few days. Oh, the voice doesn't know what the hell to do. Fourth overall, the Pacers select Marvin Bagley III. Charlotte Hornets at 5. Trade the pick. To Phoenix for Mo Bamba. The Mo Bamba on his way to Phoenix. Or from Phoenix, I should say. So Phoenix ends up taking Wendell Carter Jr. But guys, remember, you can drive a go-kart. You can drive a go-kart and buy a skateboard. This doesn't need work at all. No. This didn't need fine-tuning, that instead of adding the Curry era, you couldn't have just upped the overall quality of what was already there. No. And you can box as well. That's true. My God. 6th overall, Philadelphia take Jaren Jackson Jr. Phoenix at 7. Take Trae Young. Hell of a draft for Phoenix. Nolans at number 8. Take Mikal Bridges, old Michael. Hopefully when NHL fans say they want NHL to be like 2K, they don't mean go-karts. Oh, they mean the go-karts. Some people do. Some people absolutely want the fucking city style of mode, and I don't understand the logic with those people at all. The LA Lakers at 9 take Robert Williams III. Chicago at 10 trade the pick. Along with Ish Wainwright for The fuck is the matter with Phoenix? Dude, this game is like broken, isn't it? This game is like broken. Holy hell, dude. Again, this is realistic, happens every year. It's realistic in a sense. And that, yes, players get drafted by one team and then traded to another. Not for returns like this. Ish Wainwright would not be enough for someone to be like, all right, yeah, we'll take Trae Young for you. Unless the Chandler Parsons contract is that bad. But the one before, with Phoenix trading old Mo Bamba, did not make any sense at all. Suns end up taking Colin Sexton. Brooklyn at 11, Kevin Knox. The Thunder, Michael Porter Jr. And the Warriors with, oh man, chat, so close. Mr. Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, 1 pick away from being a Nugget. Chat has picks 14 and 16. No trade offer for pick 14, so you have to make this one. Again, at point guard, you do have Jamal Murray and Emmanuel Mudiay, so you really don't need a point guard. Shooting guard, you got Gary Harris, Malik Beasley. At forward, I mean, you have Jonathan Isaac, because Wilson Chandler is going to be leaving. Power forward's probably the big need. And then center, you're fine. Yeah, power forward or best player available is pretty much what you're looking at. Point guards, Aaron Holiday, Javon Carter, DeAnthony Melton, Jalen Brunson, Anthony Simons, still available. Dante DiVincenzo's there, Kevin Huerter, Lonnie Walker, Jerome Robinson, Grayson Allen, Shake Milton. At forward, Zaire Smith, Miles Bridges, Troy Brown, Yuta Watanabe. Top power forwards, Metu, Tate, Jared Vanderbilt. And then centers, Antoine Livingston, Moritz Wagner, Mitch Robinson. So what are you guys thinking here? What are you thinking? You got to make the pick. I'm going to put a line in chat. Anybody I see named below the line will be in contention. What do you think? Miles Bridges, Lonnie Walker, Brunson, my dad. My dad. All right. We got our names here. I think we got our names. So, chat, will it be the Bridges? Will it be the Lonnie Walker? Will it be Mr. Brunson, who again was here at a C-? Or will it be Zaire Smith? What do you guys think? You did it. You pranked me. I pranked you dead. I pranked you dead. Well, unless something changes, chat's going with Jalen Brunson from the looks of it. Unless something changes. Stocking up on yet another point guard. Yeah, we can pretty much call that. Jalen Brunson off to Denver. The Knicks at 15 take Lonnie Walker, bringing up Chad again at 16. Again, you have to make the pick. So it'll be down to Bridges, Walker, or Smith. So you'll end up getting 2 out of 4. There you go. Feel free to vote again, and we'll see who you end up with. And picks 14 and 16 for chat. But yeah, this game is like broken. This game is Walker just got taken. You're right, he did, so don't vote for him. I lied. It looks like chat's gonna go with Bridges here anyway. Yeah, that's pretty much decided already. Miles Bridges on his way to Denver. My Pistons up at 17. I have to make the pick. Yeah, well, all-star bench for the Hatter. All-star bench for Jerome Robinson. I mean, I kind of need people everywhere at this point. I do need a point guard, unless I think Isaiah Whitehead can be the one. Shooting guard now, I definitely don't need the help. Donovan Mitchell and Luke Kennard both being there. Looking good at forward, to be honest. Power forward looking okay. I need a big man or a point guard. Or I go for the best available. But best available won't necessarily fit the team. Well, could be Aaron Holiday. Mitch Robinson's apparently all NBA to bench. Jesus Christ. Well, I have to risk it for old Mitch Robinson. Stay healthy, for the love of God. And that should allow us to sim to the next pick, which is Chat at 28. And again, another situation where you have to make the pick. At this point, you're just looking for the best player available. Jerome Robinson's there, all-star bench as a shooting guard. Any disagreements with just taking him? You don't really need team need. You just got to look for the best player available. And Jerome Robinson has the highest ceiling. Any disagreements? Or would you rather go with, like, DiVincenzo or Carter? Some love for DiVincenzo. All right, well, we'll take a look here then. So at point guards, you got Javon Carter, DeAnthony Melton, Anthony Simons. It drops off a bit from there. Shooting guard, DiVincenzo, Jerome Robinson, Josh Okogie, Grayson Allen, Shake Milton, Landry Shamet, old Gary Trent Jr., Amadou Diallo, Yuta Watanabe at forward, Barry, power forwards, Metu and Vanderbilt, Wenyen Gabriel's up there too, and then Drew Eubanks, Armando Alberto at center. So, anybody below the line, because people are throwing out a lot of names. Let's see what you guys think. Let's see what you think. Let's see.
For those about to
shout out to Spicy Italian Footlong, by the way, on the resub. Thank you for that. Welcome back. Welcome back. All right, I think there's quite a few people in the fucking running here. We might need a runoff poll, to be honest. We might. A lot of people being named. Might just have to go with whoever posted first. So let's see. Oh, let's see. Who you guys will go with here with your third pick of the first round. What's it going to be? What's it going to be? Who's it going to be? Who you going to call? Who are you going to call? My goodness. My goodness. Some love for DiVincenzo. People shouted out Vanderbilt and then nobody's voted for him. Typical. Vanderbilt, but I'm not going to vote for him. There's the one vote for Vanderbilt. Probably wasn't even the person that threw his name out there. Looks like we probably, I'd say we have a winner here. Dante DiVincenzo on his way to chat's Denver Nuggets. That is decided. Denver back on the clock, pick 44. Well, you actually do have some names here for the second round. This draft was a little bit more expanded. So let's take a look here. I mean, you might as well go for someone in the higher range. If you really wanted to take Diallo or Landry or something like that, you could. But in terms of rating, what are you guys thinking for this pick? More potential guards. Grayson Allen's there. Shake Milton. Power forward. That would bring in a Wenyen Gabriel. Diallo, so we can have a dunk contest participant. Power forward or center. Power forward. Devonta Graham. Eubanks. Okay. Well, we'll go off of who was named first. So will it be the Eubanks? Will it be Wenyen Gabriel? Will it be Devonta Graham? Will it be Hamidou Diallo? Or the GOAT, Grayson Allen? Who's it going to be? Who's it going to be? What do you got? What do you got? What do you got? I mean, unless you wanted to go for Haywood Highsmith, you know? Or a dude named Willie Perdue. Or Robert Rodman. Looks like it is going to be Wenyen Gabriel. Yeah, there's still a decent enough lead. All right. Wenyen Gabriel is the pick. Good old Wenyen. What a name Wenyen is. Frickin' Wenyen. Goodness. All right. And that is it for this draft. So again, Ayton, Doncic, Mo Bamba, who was flipped like twice. Phoenix just could not help themselves, but that is how the draft plays out. In terms of the rookie signings, so, I mean, for you guys, Brunson, Bridges, DiVincenzo, and Gabriel. 4 players of at least a 70 overall. And for me, Mitch Robinson, my only draft pick this year. In terms of options this year for chat, pretty straightforward. Oh, that's bad news for you guys. Wilson Chandler picked up the option. There's really no reason to not pick up the option for pretty much everybody except for Chester Watson. Yeah, I mean, you can let go of Chester Watson, but there is, Meg, that's terrible, but I believe you. Pretty much no reason to not pick up the option on basically everybody else, though. Especially like Beasley and Hernan Gomez are both really, really cheap. Let go of Moody. No, I won't let you do that. That would be a very dumb decision. Like, I get the idea is like, oh, but Jalen Brunson's there now. It's like, see, like, you probably don't want to let go of this guy for nothing, you know? Probably not. Probably not. But if other people disagree, let me know. And hey, guys want to let go of him for free? That's fine. I'll have no problem signing him at free agency. For me, I need to keep the Hazonia. Stanley Johnson. John Lure, you can go. And Doug Todd, you can go. All right. There we go. So chat will go with Chester Watson, who's just kind of there. LeBron is potentially leaving Cleveland. Russ is potentially leaving the Thunder. Paul George is potentially leaving the Pacers. Jesus Christ. In terms of qualifying offers for you guys, it's Nurkic and Gary Harris. And for me, it's Isaiah Whitehead, should I elect to keep him, which we'll see. So my Pistons have $36 million in cap space. And Embiid's an RFA. Chat's Nuggets at $14 million. So obviously you won't have any of the big names to go after, but there is quite a bit in the cap hole. Got to $30 million on the primer for Achilles. And a question that'll be out of date. Good for Jeremy Swayman to try and secure the bag, and I hope he does with the Bruins because Don Sweeney done played himself. Those are my thoughts. You don't trade the goalie. That is your leverage. So again, for your roster, chat, you're good at point guard. You're good at shooting guard for the moment. Honestly, at forward, you're looking all right. Power forward's the big question, but you do still have Fareed for the year. And then Jokic at center. Again, you do have the bird rights for Harris and Nurkic. They should probably be your primary focus so you don't lose them for nothing. But they both want a lot of money. But you do have the right to match. So that's the question. For the record, if you were to negotiate with Gary Harris, yeah, he wants like 20. He wants to be paid starter money already. Nurkic also wants to be paid starter money in a lot of ways. And again, he is behind, the top center in the game. So, Jays, I think they're entirely separate, but I mean, maybe. So the big question is, keep Harris, Nurkic. Wait for match offers. Let me know what you guys think on that front. You get picks as compensation? No. No, you do not. So for me, with $36 million to spend, it is nice to have that money, even though I barely have a roster at the moment. A very young roster, that is for sure. I do need a point guard desperately. But would it make a lot of sense to sign Russell Westbrook right now? I mean, it's him or Isaiah Thomas if I actually wanted to go after an already established point guard. Then again, I saw what IT did for you guys. Shooting guard, all the top options are RFAs. Obviously, fucking LeBron James is available. So is Paul George, for that matter. But they don't necessarily fit the role. I still can't believe this is an era. Oh, I know. It's fucking stupid. Power forward Julius Randle's an RFA, and then centers Embiid's an RFA. DeMarcus Cousins is out there. This is like 5 years ago. Oh, it's stupid as hell. It is stupid as hell. That's for sure. I mean, Boogie Cousins being out there, like, I mean, it's tough, right? Do I want to bring in a point guard who could make my team a little bit too good? But then again, I do have a lot of draft picks aside from my own. We consider driving go-karts instead, right? That is a good question. Pinned message, T-Reds. Pinned message. Top of the chat. I think I want to play the younger guys at this point. I mean, but Westbrook could elevate them if I could get him. It would be super fucking expensive. Even if I only bring him in for the year. To be fair, the poll is covering the pin message. Yeah, no being fair. Life isn't fair. Oh, but Lynn's sanity. Think about Lynn's sanity. By the way, Chad elected to vote to wait. And again, with that $14 million, there's really nobody major for you guys to go out and get to improve your roster with right now anyway. Like, your roster's pretty much fine. You got to kind of wait to see what happens. Julius Randle will be a good addition. Yeah, if you guys had twice as much cap space as you do. As much as I'd love to go for like Paul George or LeBron, it just doesn't make sense right now. Do I genuinely want to go for Jamie Lin? Dante Exum, what's your potential? B? Eh. He's an RFA. Could go for him. $28 million, by the way. He's out of his fucking mind. You know, I think I got to do it. I'm going for Isaiah Thomas. I'm only going for the year, though. I'm going to give him a max interest offer for the year. That way he can hopefully make the younger players around him that much better. Shout out to Ready to Wear. 76 months. Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ. Ready, what is up? My God. 76. Let me finalize this offer. I'm going after IT for the year. Hopefully I get him. Just to be a veteran presence point guard. And he has accepted. Beautiful. I'm still going to cap hold Isaiah White. Just in case. But aside from that, I am good. For you guys, you still got the cap hold there. And then renouncing rights on everybody else. There you go. So Isaiah Thomas, welcome to Detroit. Watch him tank your team. I'm perfectly fine if he tanks my team. I mean, I have extra draft picks this year, too. I just need the best Isaiah Thomas to ever play for Detroit, right? I just need somebody that can kind of boost up the younger guys around him to hopefully improve said players. All right, so Isaiah Thomas is here. That is my one free agent signing. And then let's see for chat. I mean, top players left. I mean, Andrew Wiggins is still there, but dude, the guy wants $30 million. He wants $30 million. Again, chat's roster. You don't need a point guard. You don't need a shooting guard. You don't need forwards. You don't really need power forwards either because you have Gabriel and Hernan Gomez to develop up. And any other power forward that's there isn't that much better than Fareed. Really, what you kind of need is a backup center, although Fareed can do that. But if you end up keeping Nurkic, then you're good to go. I mean, you're still kind of waiting to see what's going to happen with Harris and Nurkic. But those technically do not count as your big free agent signing. There is this Earl Jenkins option. He's got a B in potential. He's not bad. It is true you could go after this guy. We got to match them, then we don't have money to spend. That's true. That is true. And again, for centers, if it's not keeping Nurkic, it's like Greg Monroe in a one-year deal. George Brooks, who isn't going to get much better. Eric Steele. Not that good. There is Aiden Dermanenko. Dermanenko is actually pretty good. 2078 and A. That'd be a hell of a backup center, actually. Problem is, he wants $12 million already. He doesn't necessarily want to get paid like a backup. That's the problem. That is a pretty expensive deal for him or for Jenkins. I mean, Jenkins would at least probably end up being the starter over Fareed. Dermanenko would be, solely a backup. Might end up being like the sixth man. But that's the question. Which is Monroe. It's right there. All right. Well, clearly, you got a couple of options here. Is it Jenkins? Is it Dermanenko? Or is it save money for the RFAs? See what you guys think. See what you think. It is true, Dermanenko is cheaper than Nurkic. That is true. The G League are asking for 8 figures is nuts. No, but go-karts. Go-karts, though. Have you considered the go-karts? Have you considered the go-karts? Shout out to Nico for the 18 months. Nico, welcome back. Welcome back. Hello, Nugent. Hello. Shh, we're getting one. We might as well get both. Kick both RFAs. So you can't get both, and you can only sign one free agent. That is your issue. But it does look like chat wants to go after Aiden Dermanenko. Might as well try to sign him to that 4th year. It is going to be about 10.7. Razor, it's easy to forget. All right. I mean, honestly, just a flat option's fine. It's really no big deal. You're not going to save that much money. Any disagreements on this offer to Aiden Dermanenko, the big man out of Purdue? But can I buy more VC to pimp out my go-kart? It's all about the go-karts in this game. All about the go-karts. All right, I'm not seeing much dissension about the offer. All right, the offer's out. Chat's one offer. No answer from him yet. Still no answer from him yet. There he is, Aiden Dermanenko. Chat's free agent signing this year. Still waiting to see what happens with Harris and Nurkic. Can we offer him a go-kart? I mean, that's the one thing that the game can offer. Nobody wants your RFAs, so at least that qualifying offer, like, they're not looking that bad. So Isaiah Whitehead stays with my Pistons for $1.64 million. Nurkic signs for 4, Harris for straight 8s. So pretty crazy steals there to keep those guys for that cheap compared to what they were wanting on the open market. Jokic up by 3, Harris up by 3, 2 for Nurkic, 1 for Murray, a +5 for Jonathan Isaac. Dermanenko went up by 3, Jesus Christ. 1 for Fareed, Moutier by 3, Beasley by 4, Hernan Gomez by 2. The Nuggets are taking shape. For my Pistons, a +5 for Donovan Mitchell, +4 for Luke Kennard, 1 for Stanley Johnson. Isaiah Whitehead got a hell of a lot worse, so it's a good thing that I signed Isaiah Thomas. It is a good thing that I signed IT to at least have a half-decent point guard, because good Lord. The 2019 NBA draft is on the horizon. And you know what? Paid Nuisance, give you credit. Those draft class files looking pretty good. So looking at chat's situation here, I mean, at point guard, it's a damn good situation to have. You could argue putting Emmanuel Mudiay on the block would be a good choice just because he's always going to be stuck behind Jamal Murray. Shooting guard wise, DiVincenzo's got a concussion currently. You could make the argument that now is a good time to move on from Gary Harris because you saw how much money he's going to want. You got to decide if he's worth that or if you just want to build up Beasley. At forward, Wilson Chandler to the block easily, and then you're fine. Power forward, kind of your last chance to build up Hernan Gomez. I mean, dealing Fareed wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. It would make your team worse, though. And then centers, obviously, Nurkic, try to get out of there because you know how much money he's going to want. So let me know if I'm wrong. But based off of that, from what I can gather, this is how the block would probably be set up and everything. Let me know if I am wrong. Harris cannot currently be added. At least not yet. But let me know if you would change. And Nurkic also cannot be added until Christmas. So those two are sticking around. But any disagreements about that block currently, let me know. Again, you cannot add the two guys that just signed as RFAs until Christmas. So there is that. There is that. But all right, so chat's looking okay. And then again, in terms of your draft picks, no extra first until Portland's in 2021. Tossard and Gomez on there. There you go. Taking a look, by the way, at what your roster is going to be for this year. Mike Malone is still there. It's Murray, Harris, Isaac, Fareed, and Jokic. Nurkic is the sixth man. To be honest, that probably should be a playoff team, especially behind Jokic. And how solid of an option he is. For my Pistons, Isaiah Thomas, Tony Roten, Isaiah Whitehead. God, I thought he might be able to be something. He declined so sharply. Shooting guard, Donovan Mitchell is looking pretty good. Might even make Luke Kennard a bit expendable. Sonia and Stanley Johnson are both kind of competing for the same spot. Power forward, similar story. Ed signed a random center to place over Mitch Robinson, which is a little bit annoying. And I'm not going to be able to put any of those guys on the block for now. So there is not much for me to do here outside of probably looking at getting rid of Luke Kennard. I don't even necessarily have to. It's just a matter of like if the right offer comes through. But I definitely know I don't want to get rid of Donovan Mitchell. I don't want to get rid of Mitch Robinson either. Or do I? I'm going to be willing to listen to offers pretty much straight up. But again, a lot of potential picks in play for me for this year's draft. The only thing I'm doing is holding on to my first. So... and then from my coach, Derek Goodman's still here. It's Thomas, Mitchell, Johnson, Lawson, and Ajinka. Kennard, Hazonia, Ellison. God, Jamal Crawford's getting guaranteed playing time. Bring it down to 8. I do not need Jamal Crawford's old ass to be guaranteed playing time. Unfortunately, Robinson isn't currently guaranteed any playing time at all. So let's see what happens here. Let's see. We got time. I'm going to be playing some pro clubs, as I mentioned, with the friendos for a bit. Because it is that time of year. And the Pistons are terrible. You guys do get a trade offer for Fareed, but it's Darren Collison. Yeah, there's really no reason to take that. You don't need the extra point guard. Although Jamal Murray is hurt. But, again, you don't need that depth. Yeah, that's just not a good trade offer for you guys at all. Well, there's an offer that could be tempting. Mitch Robinson and Henry Ellenson for Nerlens Noel and Lou Williams. And Robinson's 20, only a C potential, currently in a 68. Ellenson 2174 and a B+. Noel is 24 at this point. Lou Williams is getting paid for a while. I'm actually going to say no to that. I thought there might be a chance, but that's going to be a no. Well, I might have to take that. Luke Kennard for Frank Very French. Where, again, at shooting guard, Donovan Mitchell is hurt, but he kind of surpassed Kennard. And an IT is only here for the year. And old Frank, very French, could be the long-term solution at point guard. I'm going to take this. Kennard for Frank, very French, 1 for 1. That is a done deal. Welcome in, Mr. Very French. Mr. Very French in a lottery-protected first from the Clippers for Kemba Walker. Problem is, Kemba doesn't really fit the timeline at 28 years old. That's a pretty wild trade. I'm going to say no, though, because Kemba's about to be expensive as all hell in upcoming free agency. Another offer for me, Solomon Hill, 27. No. Get out of here. Get out of here with that nonsense. I'm not having it. I'm not having it. God, my Pistons are terrible this year. Isaiah Thomas is in hell. He is in hell having to watch this team be this shit. Hazonia for Kent Bazemore. How old were you at this point? 29. Get the hell out of here. That's a beautiful amount of L's, isn't it? Some sweet, beautiful tanking on display. For you guys, DiVincenzo and Gabriel for Mason Plumlee. You really don't need another center, though. You really don't need another center, obviously. Fareed for Carroll and a first. I mean, Carroll's 32. I mean, you could get a first-round pick for Fareed, who you guys are probably going to lose at the end of the year anyway. Carroll can end up playing in a depth forward role, but still be a backup power forward. It just kind of depends if you want to keep Fareed to try and push for the playoffs. But obviously, like, if Nurkic stays, he can play power forward. Dermanenko can play power forward. There's really no reason to not take that. I mean, I don't even know if we'll make it to 2023, but... All right, chat saying yes. Honestly, I mean, it's interesting enough. I don't think losing Kenneth Fareed is going to kill you guys in terms of... I mean, you guys are 16 and 13, so it's not like you were crushing it anyway. Worth noting now, the trade block can now include Gary Harris and Yusef Nurkic. And for yours truly, Isaiah Thomas is going to the block, so I can try to pull off the old sign and trade. Any of these randos that were signed that are above a 1-star. There we go. It'll be my block for the rest of the year. I had no choice but to kind of blow things up and deal long term. Deep Harris. Chad at least wanted him on the block. Oh, I could get old man Dwight Howard. No. Actually, you know what? Trade block. Mr. Very French. Donovan Mitchell. Zonia keeps getting better. How that works. We're keeping the point guard, shooting guard combination. For you guys, I mean, Malcolm Brogdon and Greg Monroe just doesn't make sense. Harris is going to be expensive as hell, but that's not the type of deal to pull the trigger on right now. To improve. Oh my God, these Pistons are beautifully bad, which is what I'm banking on. What I am banking on. Apparently, we're good enough to beat the Atlanta Hawks multiple times, though. Multiple times. We also didn't see where the hell LeBron ended up. Forgot to look at the free agency outcome. Connor Lawson and Jamal Crawford for Spencer Hawes and Pat. I mean, Hawes is 30. Patterson's 29. Absolutely not. Or Isaiah Thomas. Yeah, I'm kind of hoping he gets an offer here. For me, Stanley Johnson and Jamal Crawford for Gortat and a first. 22.76 and a B for Johnson. 23.76 and a B. Okay, so I got two guys that are pretty similar. Honestly, I'll probably take this. And there's no reason to necessarily bank on Stan Johnson being like the guy. He's not the best shooter in the world. Yeah, I think I'll take this and get another first-round pick. See you later, Stan the man. And we'll immediately put Gortat on the block, although there is not that much time, and I don't have a nuke. 30 mil's tough to move, yeah. All right, that'll bring us to the deadline. So for my Pistons, 8-45, Isaiah Thomas, unfortunately for him, will be staying here all year. For Chats and Nuggets, 5th in the West at 30-23. I know people had been throwing the idea of a round of a nuke to try and like secure your spot, as Moutier broke his leg. Again, the only reason to use the nuke right now would be a tactical approach to probably move on from Gary Harris before he asks for a shitload of money, because Malik Beasley is pretty much of the same caliber at this time. And then to also move Nurkic before he again asks for a crazy amount of money, because Dermanenko is an incredible backup for you guys. You got to remember Jokic as well. You're about to have to pay him. So the tack nuke is typically used to be like, oh, let's improve the team to push. Now might be the right time to use it, though, to make sure. Now, granted, you do have Carroll and Chandler, Wilson Chandler, whose deals are coming up, but it might make the most sense just to make sure you're good to go from a cap perspective with Jokic. Especially, too, for Nurkic. Let's see here. A lot of offers coming through. It's taken a while. Man, this is slow. But hey, at least there's go-karts. At least there's go-karts. Dude, this is taking forever. Holy hell. I mean, Alex Len in the first. You could then try to flip Len. That deal doesn't make sense. Take on Tristan Thompson, but that defeats the purpose in terms of cap space. Favors and Harkless makes no sense. Bias Harris and Peyton. I mean, Podol and Ross is okay. Not that you need another center. Spurs offering Murray and a first. It's only a C+ at the moment, but that's a hell of a backup. Steven Adams defeats the purpose. Jared Allen defeats the purpose, though, as a center. Yeah, I mean, that's tough to turn down, right? Nurkic for Murray and a first. I mean, that alone might make the nuke worth it. And then if you flip out Gary Harris, because, he's going to want a shitload of money, we'll see how long this one takes to load up. Again, just from a cap perspective of being able to make sure that you can pay Jokic, this might honestly be the right time. This might be the right time. There's going to be some offers coming through for Harris as well. Gordon Hayward, Brogdon and Monroe. Son Whiteside, I mean, he's on an expiring deal. But, fucking De'Aaron Fox. Harris in a second for goddamn De'Aaron Fox. Julius Randle and Ivica Zubats. That doesn't make as much sense. Gallinari. Valanciunas. Dion Waiters, try to flip him and get a first-round pick from the Spurs. Honestly, that one's not too bad either, but the Sacramento deal is tough to turn down. Bam doesn't make as much sense for you guys now. Kevin Looney could be that power forward long-term for you guys, though. Well, based off of those two alone, what do you guys think? Is there any rejections of the tack nuke in terms of what you might be able to do here? Anybody saying, you know what? No, I think we're good and we'll be fine. I think the argument's there. I think it is. What about Harris and Nurkic together? A lot of times packaging players doesn't necessarily work in this game. But I can show you. But yeah, chat's pretty confident. Andre Drummond and Alex Len. You could get Kenneth Faried back. So Chad is going to use the tack nuke here. I think it makes a good amount of sense. Yeah, you could get Julius Randle, actually. Harris, Nurkic a second for Randle and Zubats. Although, with Zubats, that's a little bit tough. Because, again, you don't need a center. You'd have to look at flipping him. Could get Siakam, but then you'd have to take on Valanciunas and hope that you could flip him, or you'd lose him for nothing. Honestly, the offers for these guys were better separately. Although you could get Gilgeous-Alexander, CJ McCollum as well, and Jared Allen. Not bad, but you could argue the offers separate were pretty good. So really quickly, because we know that you guys are going to want to move the likes of Wilson Chandler and DeMar Carroll as well, let's look at those really quickly. And once we finish this up, we'll quickly sim to the end of the season, and then I'm going to go play some pro clubs with the friendos. So, really quickly. God, and as quickly as this game will let us. Is there a good offer for Wilson Chandler? Having to take on Chandler Parsons. Not so hot. Reggie Jackson. I mean, right there, first round pick from Memphis. You take on Kent Bazemore, but his deal's up at the end of the year. Ones where you have to give up a first doesn't make too much sense. Nerlens Noel, you don't need him. Bismack Biyombo, you don't need him. Solomon Hill in a second round pick swap. Terrence Ross. I mean, there's an obvious trade out of this one, and it's not to take on Ian Mahinmi. Obvious deal. Get the first rounder from Memphis. Yes, it's in the future, but still it's a trade piece. And take on Kent Bazemore and see if you can flip him. That's a no-brainer. Honestly, unless there's multiple deals that would make sense, we're just going to breeze through this. If there's an obvious deal like that, just going to take it and move. So we aren't going for the playoffs. I'd say you guys are still very much going for the playoffs. But there are certain players whose contracts are coming due. And the biggest player is Nikola Jokic, which you guys want to make sure you have the money to sign. That's the big situation there. Again, it's like a first-round pick from the Lakers, but you'd have to take on Noel. You'd also have to give up a first. I could get Vonleh back, but he's making a decent amount. Future first-round pick from the Pistons. No. I'll you know right now. All right, so Carroll might have to be... Never mind. Ooh, Mahinmi, though. A cap hit. Carroll might have to be packaged for something else. We'll come back to him. You guys are able to flip Bazemore, though. So we're in that awkward nuke where we have to push while protecting our future. Correct. Is there a deal that makes... Again, I'm not giving you a first. Is there a deal that makes sense for Bazemore? Not really. What if you pair those two together? I mean, worst case, you get stuck with those guys for the year, but they're both on expiring contracts. So that's really not a big deal. All things considered. Yeah, there is not too much value with those two. Not at all. Bazemore's got a player option, you're right. So he definitely has to go. Even if you get rid of him for Jared Dudley. And again, I'm not offering you a first. We'll come back to those two. I know chat's interested in trading Hernan Gomez, which is probably fair. It doesn't look like he's going to develop. See what he can fetch you. Because sometimes other offers for bigger players will just include those other guys. So let's see. God, this is so slow. Why is it so slow? Experience next-gen consoles, baby. There we go. I mean, a first-rounder and Travian Graham from Philadelphia, so that's immediately worth it. Shabazz Muhammad in the first, but you'd have to give up Gabriel. Oh, Vlaco, only a C. You can't handle the pressure. Torian Prince in the second is not worth it. First rounder and Lance Thomas from the Knicks. Unprotected first rounder from the Knicks. Clearly, that is the way to go. On Kyle O'Quinn, get a first rounder from the Thunder, but again, yeah, clearly that deal with the Knicks. Unprotected first rounder, Lance Thomas, like clearly that's the one. Clearly. Again, we'll go back to Nurkic in a minute. No option on Lance Thomas, so if you can't flip him, no big deal. And I'm not giving you a first round pick. All right, so yeah, no real deal for Lance Thomas. Pretty similar to the others. So the biggest potential deals now are Harris and Nurkic. Let's look at the Gary Harris offers again. Again, only reason, like, he's in decline for whatever reason. He's not happy with the team. He was wanting a crap load of money on the open market last year. So it just makes sense to move on from him now, especially with Beasley right there. And the deals that were there before, it was him and a second for De'Aaron Fox. There was Randall as well, but Dermonenko, I know you guys don't want to get rid of. I mean, clearly that was the pick, or that was the trade, was De'Aaron Fox. It's not even a question. That's not even a question. So Sacramento hands you De'Aaron Fox with an exception being added, which is crazy. And then the Nurkic deal, he was also going to be looking for a shitload of money. Again, came back as an RFA because nobody signed him to that much money, but you just know you're going to get stuck in the same situations. So trade him now, get ahead of the deal. And then, yeah, you might have to make a decision at point guard between Fox or Murray, depending on what offers are there. So Nurkic, Alex Len for a first. Alex Len and a first for Nurkic. Tristan Thompson didn't make too much sense with how much he was getting paid. Same for DeAndre Jordan. Favors, Kenneth Faried, taking him back. At least you know Faried's on an expiring deal. I mean, that first one, right? Josh Richardson from the Spurs, but he is making $9 million, unfortunately. And Steven Adams doesn't make sense based off what you're trying to do. Jared Allen doesn't make too much sense because he'd be your third center. So, I mean, Alex Len is also tough for that reason. But at least you could bank on, like, hey, moving on. Josh Richardson costs too much money. I mean, we need big men. You don't, though. You need a power forward. You don't necessarily need centers. Yeah, honestly, I mean, the Jared Allen trade over the Len trade probably makes more sense anyway, because Allen will still be cheaper long term. That is the deal to make. So, not really a question. It was the only one that was going to make sense. So again, Jokic and Dermonenko can at least play power forward, so that covers what's going on there. Again, Wenyen Gabriel was just drafted. Lance Thomas, there wasn't much to flip him for. So the only real question now is point guards. You can't flip Moutier now, but between Fox and Jamal Murray, same potential. Technically, you could keep both now. But just to see, Bazemore has to go. I am aware. You got to give it a second, Chief. You got to give it a second. I explained the logic behind it before. Got to listen to these things. Would there theoretically be a deal that would make sense for De'Aaron Fox? And right now, the answer is absolutely not. I would take this trade. I promise you I'd take that trade if you guys wanted to do that. So yeah, if there is a De'Aaron Fox trade, it doesn't make sense to immediately try to flip him now. None of those deals make sense. I mean, even for Bam, like, that's just not worth it because you'd have to take on Ed Davis too. Yeah, so there isn't a deal that makes sense there. And then theoretically, with Jamal Murray, I would gladly take that deal. So for now, it looks like you guys will be with Murray and Fox. You could explore trading Jalen Brunson, but for the most part, you're probably fine. Like, that is just a lot of point guard depth for the moment, but it will sort itself out over time. I didn't think it would take this long to look at offers for Brunson. I mean, Doug McDermott, but you probably don't want the cap hit. Biyombo's on an expiring deal. Jesus, you have to give up so much. I mean, in fairness, you could trade him and your own for... Honest? That's me, though. Never mind. It's always the other human-controlled team that ends up being decent. You could flip Jalen Brunson for a first-rounder and take on Ish Smith for the year. If you wanted to get rid of Jalen Brunson and reinvest in a future first-rounder, San Antonio is offering that possibility. So is OKC. So if you wanted to get rid of Brunson because of the crazy amount of depth you already have there, it could be done. Let me know. Same with kind of the younger shooting guards. But yeah, clearly now it's like whatever offer you can get to get rid of Bazemore, you got to do. Even if it's Jared Dudley. Again, I'm not giving you a first-round pick. Does Jared Dudley have an option? No option for Dudley. Does Tyson Chandler have an option? No. Second rounder Mozgov, Ian Mahimi. Oh, clearly then, like, Jared Dudley's a trade exception. You don't have to give up a pick. So, Bazemore out for Jared Dudley, just to make sure you don't get stuck with the Bazemore. All right, and with that, I think chat's tactical nuke is about done, unless there's ways to flip Carroll and Dudley for anything. If there's any other young players that you were looking to see, hey, what could we get for them? Speak now or forever hold your peas, but otherwise, I think you've set yourself up very well. Getting De'Aaron Fox, getting some extra first-round picks, freeing up the cap space to make sure that Jokic is good to go. I think you guys have done pretty well for yourselves. Obviously, any pick where you guys have to give up a first is pretty rough. Yeah, looks like you guys are pretty much done. Yeah, no one wants Damari Carroll, but again, he's up at the end of the year. I think you guys are good. One last look. Again, Murray and Fox, you're not really going to get fair deals for those two at this stage. I mean, you kind of could with Murray. Could move Brunson to recoup a first rounder. Beasley and DiVincenzo. You can make an argument there, especially if you're hoping that the AI plays Murray at shooting guard, which we can double check if they will. Again, Carroll, Dudley. There's not going to be much to do. Technically, you could get a second-round pick from the Pelicans. Let's see if that's worth it for you guys. Does ASIC? He has a player option, yeah, so. And then power forwards, Wenyen Gabriel, who you drafted last year. There wasn't anything you could get for Lance Thomas. And then Jokic, Dermonenko, and now Jared Allen, who you could flip, but that's a hell of a trio of big men. So, really quickly, chat's lineup here ends up being, because of an injury, Murray, Beasley, Isaac, Dermonenko, and Jokic, with Fox as the sixth. Allen's getting time. So is Carroll and DiVincenzo currently. I mean, that's still a playoff team. I'd be surprised if it wasn't. Any other deals? It's not looking like it. I think chat's tactical nuke is done. A lot of these guys on options. Carroll and Dudley will go. Thomas will go. And you can re-sign Nikola Jokic right now, which makes sense. And we always go max interest. Under $25 million for 4 years. I mean, that's an obvious one. There you go. Jokic is back. And you know you have plenty of cap space, essentially, to do whatever else you need to do. But he's signed. He's all smiles. Chat's tactical nuke done. And like I said, I think it worked out pretty damn well for you. I mean, Christ, you picked up De'Aaron Fox. You still have cap space to work with. And in terms of draft picks now, you even got some extra first rounders in the mix. A lot of them further down the road in like 2023. But even if we do Allen and Brunson, what do you mean, like paired together? I can take a look at what that would get you. Why not? Why not? This went well over time. That's okay. What are you going to do? Think of all the horses you can buy. Greg Monroe, DeAndre Jordan. Derek Jones Jr. You don't need a shooting guard, though. Zubats and Noel. Not offering you that. Although, Christ, that might honestly be worth it for me. Capella, JaVale McGee. Yeah, there really isn't like that go-to deal. Outside of like Bam, but you have to give up a first. Yeah, I'd say pretty much good. Unless you wanted to bank on like Kevin Looney. Kevin Looney. Pretty much the best you could do with that double deal to actually get a power forward, a natural power forward, that is. And then get rid of Sullinger at the end of the year. I think chat's looking pretty good. I think they are. I didn't think both of us would have used our nuke at this point. So again, chat's Nuggets will be pushing for the playoffs. I'm pushing for the #1 overall pick, baby. Just like old times.